Hey guys, how you doing? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Well, a couple years ago I released one of my most controversial videos to date. I compared a Glock 43 to the Kahr CT2. Well, today we're going to carry on that fun tradition of comparing the Glock 43, an excellent pistol, with a lower priced pistol within about the same category, that being a concealed carry model. We're going to compare it to the Kahr CT9. Now, before you laugh, before you thumbs down and call me an idiot and unsubscribe to my channel and go watch the latest Yankee Marshall video, you got to watch this because these two pistols have a lot more in common than people realize, and you might be surprised with which one I choose as my favorite model in the end. So stay tuned, guys. A head-to-head comparison, the Glock 43 versus the Kahr CT9. All right, here we go. Okay guys, so first things first, the Kahr CT9 was purchased from SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska back in December of 2016. It's been my faithful carry gun for over a year now. I actually used it to replace my Kahr CPX2, which basically fell apart. The Glock 43 is on loan to me from Stan, the owner of SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska. SS Pawn's been a longtime supporter of the channel, and Stan does loan me firearms from his private collection. So guys, go ahead and give SS Pawn a call and they will take care of your firearms needs. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and start off with the basic specifications of the Glock 43, go through and let you know, the size and weight and so on. We'll do the same thing for the Kahr CT9, and then we'll go through and do more of a head-to-head comparison of the overall ergonomics, design, and features, because like I said, these pistols have a lot more common than I think people realize. So let's go ahead and move into the specifications of the Glock 43. As you can see, both of these firearms have been emptied out. They are clear, and they are safe for us to show off in a little head-to-head comparison test. All right, here we go. Okay guys, so this is the Glock 43 or G43 as some people call it. It is made in Austria. We're looking at chambering in 9mm. The barrel length is 3.39 inches. The overall length is 6.26 inches. The weight is 16.19 ounces. Your capacity is 6+1. You do get two magazines with the pistol. One has a pinky extension and the other one is a flat base plate. Same capacity on both magazines. It's not exactly a single action, not exactly a double action. It's kind of its own thing. I almost think of it as a single action striker fire. It does not have any kind of double strike capability to it. It does have a black polymer lower. It does have that steel alloy slide and barrel. It does have the octagonal twist in the barrel, if I'm not mistaken. It isn't exactly a Gen 4 or Gen 3. It's kind of its own thing. It has some of the features of some of the earlier gens of Glocks, but it's got the more modern trigger inside and components and so on. Price-wise, you're looking at around $450, $475 if you go off, say, galleryofguns.com. Looking at about $575 if you want the Crimson Trace model. All right, now let's go ahead and move over to the Kahr CT9 and get the specifications out about that pistol. Okay, so with the Kahr CT9, it is a semi-automatic pistol, but it does have an action that's very similar to the Glock, more or less a single action style with the striker. Now some guys debate is a Glock single action, double action. Again, it's kind of its own thing. The Kahr kind of falls into that realm, does not have a double strike capability also. It does have a matte stainless steel slide. It does have a polymer lower. Although the polymer doesn't feel as rugged as the Glock, it does have a polymer lower. It only comes with one magazine. However, extra magazines cost about 15 bucks on eBay. They're easy to source and they're definitely out there. Overall length is 6.5 inches. Barrel length is 4 inches, and it's just a little over an inch wide, and so is the Glock 43. So width-wise and in terms of barrel, you're looking at an overall length that's about a quarter of an inch longer for the CT9 versus the G43. Although the CT9 tends to look a lot longer than the Glock, it really compares very close in terms of overall length. Oh yeah, real quick, need to mention price. $449 is the MSRP on the CT9. You can find it between $300 and $330. Sometimes they're even cheaper. So yeah, price, I think I paid $320 for it when I bought it just a little over a year ago. Capacity in the Kahr CT9 is 8+1, so you do have a 2-round capacity difference, but we'll look at the overall height of the two pistols here in just a moment. Okay, let's just do a quick head-to-head comparison of the overall features, the design, and we're just going to cover everything we can to kind of do a comparison between the two at the same time. All right, stay tuned. Here we go. All right, and since you're going to want the ultimate concealability with the G43, we went ahead and put the magazine in it with a flat base plate. If we're going to count the sights, the overall height is 4 3/8 inches. Yeah, 4 3/8 inches is what I would count. If you don't want to count the sight, we're looking at just more or less 4 1/8 inches. So it isn't a very tall gun. Okay, now for the CT9, the overall height is 5 1/4 inches with the magazine without the sights, just a little over 5, about 5 1/8 inches. So you do have a taller gun if you go with the CT9, which might give a bit of an edge in concealability to the G43. Now, the trigger is going to be one of those things where there's a major difference between the two. I mean, like I said before, they're both a single action style, where they're not going to be full-time double action, and you don't have any kind of a second strike. So we'll go ahead and just do a quick dry fire on the G43. The difference here with the G43 between this and the C42, you have a bit of a pull, about a ½ inch, you hit the wall, and then it breaks. Nice clean break. Those of you that are fans of that type of pistol, semi-automatic striker pistols, you're going to be familiar with that. As for the Kahr CT9, again, no second strike capability. The trigger itself, you have a little bit of a wall here, a little bit of tension, and then it's tight all the way through, and it breaks right there. There's about a ½ inch from the rear of the trigger to the rear of the grip. Okay, reset. Let's go ahead and check that out. Pull out to about here. It's got a fairly lengthy reset, at least a ½ inch, if not more. And it does fire, by the way, without the magazine, but just want to put that back in there. Go through, crisp. This is more like the Smith & Wesson SD9 VE in terms of the trigger. But again, what do they have in common? Both this single action style without the double action or the double strike capability. All right, now, just in terms of width, we're virtually identical. In terms of length, there's only a ½ inch of a difference between the G43 from the end of the barrel to the end of the barrel on the Kahr CT9. It doesn't look like much, but it's actually really close. Maybe a little bit, maybe more than a ½ inch. But remember, the CT9 barrel is almost flush with the slide, so that makes a little bit of a difference. We talked about the height before. The G43 is going to get the edge in terms of concealability. So if you're somebody that is worried about printing, the G43 is definitely the way to go. Both of them have rear serrations. Neither one of them is set up to be ambidextrous, although you do have a reversible mag release on the G43. The CT9, you know, I haven't tried it. No, it's not reversible. Nor is there a ambidextrous slide stop / slide release, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Weight wise, you know, there is a bit of a difference. The CT9 is just a little bit heavier pistol. When it comes to disassembly, you've got those little takedown buttons here on the front that you pull down, the levers on the front, and that's how you're going to disassemble the G43. CT9 is more like a 1911. You cock it back, or you pull back to the point that the disassembly levers, that the disassembly notches match up. Push out this little disassembly pin, you take that out, slide comes right off. Neither one of them has any kind of a rail, although you can get a Crimson Trace version, the Crimson Trace version of the G43. I don't really know what's out there for aftermarket lights, and that's another thing we should talk about. In terms of just the aftermarket support, more of it's going to be out there for the G43. I mean, you can practically turn this thing into a hot rod if you want to. I mean, you can make it into whatever you want, right? Replaceable triggers, barrels, sights, a variety of accessories, cases, aftermarket magazine support. It's all out there. With the CT9, not necessarily the case. I do have a Klinger Holsters original Stingray holster that I use with it. And this is just a Kydex holster. These run about 40 bucks. You can get holsters for it. There's quite a few holsters out there on eBay. And since I bought this, I can almost guarantee there's going to be more support for it out there in the aftermarket. Let's just go ahead and check out the top here. The sights themselves are going to be different. You've got that familiar Glock U dot system, whereas the Kahr CT9 has like an eye. You basically dot the eye. Once you lay the dot on top of the eye, you're good to go. Honestly, I prefer the sights on the Glock. I find them a little bit easier to use. You know, get that little dot in there, you're good to fire. On this one, I keep thinking, okay, do I want the dot a little bit above, below? Is it supposed to be level? I'm not totally impressed with the sights of the Kahr CT9. Let's talk about accuracy then. Okay, so if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see how the G43 performed for me. I shot at 5, 10, 15, and 20 yards using Federal ball ammo, 115 grain. And again, the feel of it, the recoil was completely manageable. It was a gun I had to practice with. Only the second time I'd taken it to the range in that video footage you see right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and shift over to the Kahr CT9. I also shot at various distances, 5, 10, 15, and 20 yards using the exact same ammunition. Now that test was a little bit older, and I had to practice with it about as much as I did the G43. When I did the range test on this, I had only had it for just a few weeks and had just started carrying it and really hadn't practiced with it a whole lot. In terms of, okay, so there's your accuracy test on that. They both perform about the same. Both of these are within about 3 to 4 inches of a cluster that I'm able to keep my shots with basic ball ammunition out to about 20 yards, okay? And it just depends how much you practice with it. Your shooting can improve as time goes on. One of the main reasons why I bought the Kahr CT9 was the thinness. I tend to be a little bit on the heavier side, so a thinner pistol works better with me. Also, I did like the amount of space that you have right here for the trigger guard. I can shoot this comfortably with gloves on. In fact, I did in the video when I shot it. The G43 also has a decent amount of finger space here. I did not shoot it with gloves on, but I really can't tell you how well that's going to perform. But again, plenty of space there too. You're not going to be cramped for space unless you've got huge hands, okay? Just in terms of overall purchase, the G43, I'm able to get a good grip on it. Like I said, it kind of feels kind of like a downsized G19 or an upsized G42, even though the G42 is chambered in 380. Able to get a good grip on it, no problems there. The CT9, the grip is what won me on it, because I thought, okay, winter gloves, I want something I can get a good purchase on. You know, I went from having a 10 or 12 round CPX2, and then before that, a Taurus PT111 G2 with 12+1 to an 8+1 setup on the CT9. I thought to myself, if I have a better grip on the gun, there's a chance I'm going to be more accurate. I hate gambling my life on less rounds, but I may connect better with a slightly larger pistol. So even though it's a big pistol, concealability is not bad in terms of the thickness. Now, the height of the grip itself, that's something that's to be desired. I wish it was just a little bit shorter, which actually gives an edge to the G43. In terms of your texture, stippling, whatever you want to call it, not very aggressive on the sides. You know, because of the way you carry it, it's nice to not have a super aggressive texture on the sides of the pistol grip. It does ensure it's not going to rub through. If you're carrying this, say, without an undershirt on, it's going to be comfortable to carry, right? You do have slightly more aggressive dimples, or whatever you want to call it, checkering on the front and rear backstrap of the pistol grip itself. Does tend to slide around a bit more in my hands when I shoot it. I shot both guns in cold weather, so I didn't exactly have sweaty palms going on. One thing I love about the Kahr is the aggressive checkering that you have going on here in the front. It does just lock into your hands, very smooth, almost like a not so abrasive skateboard tape grip on the sides of it. So, you know, I can just definitely get a great purchase on that too. No problems there. So, as you can see, there is a lot these two pistols already have in common. They're both single stacks. They both have a similar trigger system. They're both designed for the conceal market. They both shoot relatively well. They're both easy to get a grip on. Price-wise, you've got a bit of an edge with the Kahr CT9. Like I said, $300 to $330. I don't think it's quite as high quality as the Glock in terms of just the ruggedness of the polymer. You know, I love the finish of the stainless steel slide. Now, there's more expensive versions of the CT9 you can buy, like maybe the CM9. I can't think off the top of my head. The Kahr keeps the price cheap by simply rolling in the name of the company and the model instead of laser etching it or whatever, and they only give you one magazine. And again, your G43 is going to go for about 125 bucks more, 100 bucks more than the CT9. So in terms of overall usability, they're both excellent choices. I don't know if people have had problems with Kahr pistols. I really haven't seen or heard a whole lot, to be honest with you. In terms of disassembly, they're about the same. In terms of recoil, they feel virtually identical. Surprisingly, at the range, neither one bucks out of my hand more than the other. They both have fairly tight springs, okay, in terms of the recoil spring and charging the firearm and so on. One thing that drives me nuts about the CT9, if you look in the instruction manual, I'm not lying, you can look this up if you don't believe me. The CT9, it says in the manual that you should charge the first round into the firearm, you put your magazine in, by releasing the slide stop, not by top charging, not by pulling back and releasing like some instruction manuals tell you, but specifically by using the slide release. That's one of the few guns where they say you should do it that way. The reason why is because the gun is so thin, the sidewalls are so thin, the inside of the chamber is so thin, your feed ramp is actually offset to the left about 1/8 of an inch. And if you do kind of a weak release on the top of the slide, it will jam that first round because it's kind of putting it in at an angle and feeding it. It's been fine, it's been reliable. I've not had any problems with it, but I just prefer the straight up standard, you know, just front loading that you're going to get with the G43. No surprises, no problems. You know, I top charged it each time I took it to the range. And honestly, I love that. I thought it was great. And you know, the thing is, I had taken the G43 to the range about a month before I took the CT9 out, and just shot the G43. I was just awful with it. I had a lot less training back then. I'd been doing a lot less shooting back then, and so I wasn't a big fan of the G43. Now kind of changed my mind. I put 150 rounds through it, and I was very happy with just the overall package that it delivers. I see it as a nice alternative, say, to a revolver if it comes to capacity, right? Again, 6+1, 8+1. All right, so that's a lot of information to throw out there at you. Again, the CT9, if you want a good concealed carry pistol, pick one up. Magazines are about 15, maybe 20 bucks on eBay. Not a big deal. Because it is a lower capacity magazine, you can source them about everywhere. Don't know if it's California compliant, to be honest with you. I really don't know the specifics. But again, these two pistols have so much in common that, and you can say, well, this, you know, the Glock 43 is just like this pistol or that pistol. But when you look at the overall package design, layout, features, ergonomics, very, very similar guns. It's kind of eerie, actually. It's almost like they're distant cousins of one another. I know, that's laughable. But there are some distinct differences between the two. So, which one would I take? Well, let's see. The Kahr offers a better purchase on it. You've got a longer grip. You've got 2 extra rounds. You got a cheaper price. Not a big fan of the sights. Not really a big fan of the polymer. Almost feels kind of flimsy at times. And yeah, and the rail system itself, just straight up polymer rail underneath the underneath the hood, so to speak, or the slide. You have a lot less steel in terms of the rails itself than you do on the G43 once you take the slide off. G43 on the other hand, easy to charge, runs well. You know, I can charge it over the top, not have to worry about it jamming. Less capacity, smaller overall package. Love the trigger. Always been a big fan of the trigger that's got the wall and the brake. That's just me. Now again, even though the CT9's been a very reliable, great gun, overall, I'm going to give the edge to the Glock 43. Again, smaller package, easier to conceal. That's a big deal to me. Something that's going to print less, but still offer, you know, 6+1, and with the spare magazine, another 6 rounds. It offers a lot more for the money, in my opinion. I think that it's going to hold up better over time, better aftermarket support, a little bit easier disassembly. This thing's kind of a pain to disassemble and clean. Love the trigger, but triggers are kind of an opinion thing. You know, some people love them or hate them. I like the sight system better. So overall, in my opinion, the G43 does offer more than the Kahr CT9. So, all right, there you have it, guys. That's my choice. So if you're going to get yourself a concealed carry pistol, you got the extra 125 bucks sitting around, pick up a G43. And again, I'm a fan of many different pistols, guys. I own SIGs, Smith & Wessons, Tauruses, Kahrs. I own many brands. I just love shooting for shooting. It's just fun, okay? But when I got to think about what's going to be the most functional for me, what's going to work best for me, G43 is going to be the edge. And I don't even own this pistol, okay? I did not buy this. This is just a loaner I'm borrowing from Stan. So I'm not, you know, it's not going to be endorsed to say this. I just really like the G43 overall. Got to practice with it, but I think in the end you're going to probably be happier. So there you go, guys. That is going to be the winner for today. We're going to go ahead and move the CT9 off to the side and just kind of finish things up here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it. Overall, Glock 43, great pistol. Stan, thanks for loaning it to me. Guys, if you like what you see, please like or subscribe, and feel free to leave your questions and comments down below, and I'll be happy to address them. And I know, this is going to be kind of an interesting comparison. People wonder why I even did it. I got the same kind of feedback on my CPX2. Oh, the other reason, guys, is when you go shopping for a concealed carry pistol, you know, a person might only have a budget of $300 or $350 or less, and that might be one of the guns that pops up that gets presented to them. If somebody's got more and knows they want to get a Glock, they're going to be presented with the Glock. When you're shopping for compact pistols, the person selling behind the counter might put a bunch of models out, and the Kahr could be one of those models, or the CPX2 or the PT111G2. That is exactly why I do these tests, guys, to try to give you some good information and help you make the best decision you possibly can. So there you have it, guys. All right, if you like what you see, please like or subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm also on gunchannels.com. I've got a Saturday morning podcast called Caliber Corner, and I hope you do check it out. So there you have it, guys. Guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. Have a great week. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.